Okay, can y'all see me? What is going on? Okay, hey guys, what is going on? Welcome. There is breaking news out from the trial. Now remember I said I was gonna follow this to the end. Remember I said that there are jury notes. That's why you want me in the trial. Well, guess what? The jury notes have come out. And the first one is juror number 25 wants to be out. There was a note delivered from the judge to the judge that said, juror number 25 cannot follow your honor's instructions. Now, you know I had to go to the Legal Eagles, and I was like, what does that mean they can't follow the instructions? They said most likely they refuse to, they are trying to reach a conclusion based off of their own personal feelings and reach a decision that is against the applicable law, that doesn't side with the applicable law. You guys, this is big. What is going on with juror number 25? They might have to bring in an alternate juror. Listen, here's the thing. Whatever this juror is saying and they want to decide on their feelings, I'm thinking it's pro Diddy. Why? Because Mark Agnafilio stood up and said, yeah, I know. Because the judge was like, listen, we need to jump on top of this. You know, Judge Aaron, he is like, we are going to follow the rules, if anything, right? And he said, so Judge Aaron was like, listen, we need more info, right, on the nature of the issue. So he was going to send a note back that said, without advising the court of any topics that are being discussed, off of anybody's views or any opinions or any subjects related to the court, because the court, nobody is allowed to know what the jury is thinking or feeling until the final decision actually, until the final decision actually happens. Nobody is allowed to know what the jury is feeling or thinking, okay? So he said, without telling us this, please explain the nature for why they can't understand. Follow my instructions. Is it because they don't understand? Is it because they are unwilling, right? Is it because you are unwilling, okay? Or is it another reason? Okay? Now, this is what the judge is proposing saying, right? A note from a juror. However, they are, so he is like, what do you think? So Mark Agnafilio stood up and was like, Yana, I think at this point in the game, I'm hesitant to lay out any possibilities. We just got started. We suggest you tell the juror you need to just go in there and work it through. And I said, again, maybe the jurors are not pro Diddy. Nobody can know what the jurors are actually thinking. The jurors aren't supposed to talk to anybody. So anything, even Diddy's team's guesstimation, nobody knows. But Mark Agnafilio was saying, let's not kick the juror out yet and bring an alternate in. Alternate, I think, would be juror number 13 would come down and would take juror number 25's place, okay? Now, here's the thing. They're saying, also, juror number 5 is the foreperson. Juror number 5 is the foreperson. Now, before you go and say, like, oh my God, what's up with juror number 5? The foreperson, officially, you're not supposed to have any extra power. You're not supposed to have any extra sway. Your job as the foreman is to go, or foreperson, is to take the jury notes and bring them to the judge and the court, and then take the instructions back to. So it doesn't imply by being the foreperson, foreman, whatever, that they have any other special, yes, I am in the courthouse. Can y'all see the court and the thing? Okay, that they have any special power. Okay, so again, juror number 5 is a foreperson. It is rumored to be a woman. It is what it is, okay? Now, they are the foreperson. Now, Mark Agnafilio is suggesting that they tell the jurors, listen, go back in and keep deliberating and just try to work things out. Now, here's the reason why I think Mark Agnafilio thinks, so I'm just gonna grab my phone really quick. Here's the reason why I think Mark Agnafilio thinks that other juror might be, thank you so much, that other juror actually might be pro Diddy. Hey, thank you. That other juror, hey, what's up, mama? That other juror might actually be pro Diddy, because think about it. If this person is unwilling to apply the law or follow the judge's orders, that could mean 3 things, like Judge Emerald said. They are unwilling to. Unwilling, what does that mean? They're putting their feelings first and they don't want to apply the applicable law. It could mean that they don't understand and they need it to actually be explained. Or it could be that they are absolutely unable. Now, I don't know at this point in the game why they would be unable. I think that'd be something that would come up earlier, making that, I think that is something that would come up earlier in the game instead of this late in the game. But again, the fact that Diddy's team is desperate. And if I was a prosecutor, it's just the fact that Diddy's team is like, no, let them stay in the room. Why? Because you think they might be pro you, and you think the longer they stay in the room, they might pull other people over to your side. And at this point, getting a hung jury, would be a win, right? Another bite at the apple. Why? Because when you do a hung jury, you have to start everything all over again. And when you start everything all over again, you guys, think about it. When you start everything over again, if you were Cassie with a newborn baby, would you want to come back and testify? If you were Jane, would you come back and testify? If you were Mia, would you come back and testify? Especially the way you've been treated by everybody out in the media. If you were Don Richard, would you? If you were Capricorn Clark, would you? Right? Now, here's the thing if it's a hung jury, okay? We'll get into that. And we'll get back into juror number 25 and why this might be an issue. But let's talk about the hung jury. I learned something interesting today, okay? I learned about something interesting today. When it's a hung jury, let's just say he's up on 4 counts or maybe 5 counts. If they decide on all 3 counts, but they can't decide on one, let's just say they decide on all 3 RICO. They decide on all 3, but they can't decide on the RICO. Guess what? That is the hung jury. But when the new trial starts, it's only a new trial on what they can agree on. So when the new trial starts, it's going to be a new trial to try to see if he's guilty of RICO. But those other 3 things he's been found guilty of. Likewise, with a hung jury, when you look at whether he'll be guilty of RICO, you only need 2 predicate acts. But if you guys don't know, jurors have to agree unanimously on the predicate acts. So it can't be like, oh, I think it's bribery and transportation of prostitutes, right? You think it's bribery and what's the other, and sex trafficking, right? Fine, we all have to agree what those acts are. So all 12 unanimously have to say it's bribery. All 12 unanimously have to say that it is sex trafficking. It's not enough to say that he is guilty of some of the predicate crimes. Remember we talked about that? RICO is the cake, the predicate crimes are the ingredients. You cannot have a cake without oil, butter, eggs, baking powder, and a pinch of sugar, right? You cannot have, a pinch of salt, right? And sugar, of course. But you cannot have the Hey, beautiful. Hi. You look so pretty. I love that dress on you.
I've already seen myself.
Oh, you look so pretty.
I love you. Bye, people.
I'll see ya. Okay. So listen, it has to be unanimous across the board. So if they can't agree on what the guilty predicates are, RICO, cake, predicates are the ingredients. If they cannot agree on what the ingredients to the cake is, then you cannot bake the cake. So let's just say that they don't all unanimously agree on the RICO charges, whatever they may be, and then it goes to a hung jury, but it can be hung on 1 count, 2 counts, 3 counts. It can be hung on all of the accounts. Just to let you guys know, because I think there was like a little bit of confusion over what actually happened. I'm trying to get out of the sun. Over what, and not kill myself. You're like, stop. Y'all was about to see me fall over. I wonder how the federal insurance is. If I had a chance, I would just stay on the ground, okay? But at the end of the day, it's 1 count, 2 count, 3 counts, 4. That is what they are trying to actually see about. Now, let's get back into this juror. If you're just catching me, juror number 25 has said, there's a note that has come out to the judge, right, with the foreperson, and they have said that juror number 25 said he is incapable of following the judge's orders. Incapable of following the judge's order. Of course, the sun finds me everywhere I am. He is incapable of following the judge's instructions. Only 3 things, right? Listen, now here's the thing that we need to realize, right? With this note, The judge is saying, okay, I'm gonna write them a note that said, you need to tell me the nature without telling me what you guys discussed. Because if you find out what the jury discussed before they come to the thing, that is invalidated and it results in a mistrial. Mark Agnifilio was like, no. Tell them to keep going. Tell them to figure it out later and to let it ride. I personally think by Mark Agnifilio saying that, he truly believes that this is going to help Diddy and that jury might poison the well. What are the reasons? The jury wants to decide something based off their feelings in opposite of the law by not applying the law and just going straight off of feelings. The prosecution is being very wary. They're saying, Your Honor, can we have a little time? Hold on, I'm gonna move around and see if I can get into better shade. This shadow is bothering me. They're saying, I guess it's just the tree. It's the last bastion of sunshine. Okay, so they are saying, Your Honor, we need time. We want to review United States v. Baker and United States v. Squirrel. That is the preeminent authority on how to handle this. But they're also saying that, hey, Your Honor, we need time to think. Because the only cure for this, if for whatever reason they want to go off of vibes and not apply the law, the only reason for this would be is the fact that they're refusing to go on. If they refuse to go on, this is what alternate jurors are for. They're going to apply the alternate juror. However, the next juror, I don't know, they could be a wild card. There are some jurors that show their expression on their face. There are some jurors that you see what's going on. There are some jurors. This juror has been like, I can't get a read on them, largely because most of the court, they've been looking away from the public. As is their right. I think they just wanted to keep things private, but they've been looking away from the public, okay? Again, the government said they do not want to put anything to record just yet. They want more info about what is happening. An alternate juror, the first day of deliberations might be put in because the juror is refusing to follow the judge's instructions, which is to apply the law. Now, catch this out, right? Because remember this, and we need to talk about this. Also remember that the note is from the jury, not the juror, juror number 25, but the jury. So that note might be from other jurors complaining about juror number 25. Again, it is 12 people. They're trying to decide. They've been around each other forever. Emotions run high. I'm sure everybody wants to get out here and enjoy this good weather and be done. And whatever reason is, they are now complaining that it might be that they're complaining saying juror number 25 is refusing to apply the law because they feel that when you look at the evidence, it could only be A. Again, let's also not forget, right? Let's also juror number 5 was also named the foreperson. The judge asked them, have you had any training? She said, I did e-learning on sexual harassment and she's seen psychiatrists. The judge said, you've had their services? She said, yes, but I can be fair. On question number 7 in the questionnaire, she said, I'm against capital punishment. Question number 26, what if you heard about the case? Juror number 5 said, last week, this is in voir dire. Last week, I saw a video of the defendant allegedly assaulting another person in a hotel, presuming innocence. The judge said, I see no grounds to excuse for cause. You? Agnifilio said, no. Judge said, bring in juror number 6. Juror number 6 said, I had HR training. My son is a law clerk in Connecticut. Wait, this is juror number, oh, I'm sorry. That was juror number 6. But that could have been juror number 6. Nah, forget about that. Juror number 5 is definitely, that is the girl about her. That's directly from the Inner City Press, okay? Again, if you guys are just joining, we have an update. There is an agreed, listen, the judge says, do you have an agreed upon response? Where we left our beleaguered heroines at the U.S. Attorney, they were trying to bring us justice. They are trying to figure out, do you have an agreed upon response? Mark Agnifilio said, no, Your Honor, we do not. Ms. Slavic, who delivered the first closing argument, Maureen Comey did the rebuttal. Attorney Slavic said, Ms. Slavic has emailed it to the judge's chambers, so it's not on the docket. And the judge said, do we have a defense proposal? Maureen Comey said it will be in Ms. Slavic's email, okay? The judge said, I would prefer to have a neutral response, like the government's draft response. That's the one I will use. I'll put it to the court on the court's letterhead. Mark Agnifilio said there is no suggestion that the juror will not follow instructions, so our proposal is more inert. Here's the thing. What is Mark Agnifilio talking about? There's no suggestion the juror will not follow instructions. We need affirmative that the juror will follow instructions. Again, to Mark, and I see the game he's playing, the mistrial will be the best thing for you. A hung jury will be the best thing. Or a juror that is going off of vibes, that's stuck in that room longer than they need to without being removed for an alternate to convince everybody else and sway everybody else. Because if you are strong enough to stand up to 11 people that you've been locked in a room with, and y'all might even have to come in on July 3rd and work, I think that you are strong enough to actually go and persuade people. I think it's strong enough to go and persuade people. Okay. Again, who is juror number 25? And what does they even mean that they can't follow instructions? This is the questions you guys are asking, right? One of the alternates might be subbed in, but we do not know that. Let me just bring you guys up to date, right? There are jury notes between Diddy has been taken back to the holding cell. And at the defense table, his lawyer, Driscoll, is typing away on his laptop. Sean Combs came back into the courtroom. His lawyers are huddled behind him in discussion. There has been a jury note. The judge said, we received a note from the jury that we have a juror number 25, who we believe cannot follow our instructions. I would like to meet with the court about it. The judge said, I suggest we ask for more information. Again, the more information part, I wrote that down in my notes. He said, this is his proposal, without advising the court on what the specifics of the issue is, what you've decided, and what you've been talking about, because you cannot know that in jurisprudence. Please explain the nature of you not being able to follow my orders. Is it that you don't understand? Is it because you are unwilling? If you're unwilling, which people say seems to be the most likely outcome, it is because you are trying to decide a charge based off of your feelings and ignoring the actual law. So it's like saying that I feel like you didn't shoot anyone, even though the law is if you take a bang bang and go kapowie, they could go, right? And this is very delicate because they are going to have to put in an alternate juror. However, that alternate juror, he's a wild card. I don't think the government or Diddy knows what that man is thinking, if this is the correct juror. On top of that, let's also not forget that with Mark Agnifilio, he wants the juror to stay in there and see if they can't work it out, which means I think he wants the juror to poison the well, which makes me think that Diddy's team believes, because nobody knows what wasn't a thing, right? Makes me think that Diddy's team believes that this juror and their unwillingness to apply the law is going to help them. But what did I tell you? What did I tell you? If you go off of the law, Diddy is guilty. The only way you can think he is not guilty is by ignoring the law. And this seems like what this juror wants to do. Now there is a second update, okay? The first update is the judge asked, do we have an agreed upon response? Mark Agnifilio said, no, we do not. However, attorney Slavic, that's the prosecutor, and Comey, they emailed the judge. They want something very neutral. They want to ask neutral questions like, what the hell? What the helly? I think that's what they want to write on there. But it's going to be very neutral. Can you tell us why? Without telling us what you're thinking, what you're talking about, what you're deciding. Mark Agnifilio really wants to be like, no, let him rock. He wants the jury to cook. Why? Because if you don't apply the law, it is 100% better for Diddy, all right? The judge said that he's taking the U.S. attorney's suggestion of what to write back about the jury. Keep in mind, if you look at everything, keep in mind that, remember, the note is from the jury. So the note might be from other jurors complaining about juror 25. Update number 2. The judge just said, I don't want to suggest to the jury that there is any particular time they must deliberate. I don't want to tell them they just started, because Mark Agnifilio is saying, listen, you guys just started. Just let it cook. Mark, shut up. But you know what? You got to try it, because if I was representing Diddy, and I would never be, I would try it too. The judge rejected Mark Agnifilio in the second update and said, I don't want to suggest to the jury that there's a particular time they must deliberate. I don't want to tell them that they just started. I'm going with the government version. We'll print it up and send it in. You guys, y'all thought this week was going to be boring. Aren't y'all glad I'm in the court to add in the details? Because even though you're watching the live tweets doesn't capture everything that's going on. Also, remember, the note is from the jury. This might be the other juries complaining about juror number 25. I will say that it's hilarious that that particular juror, whoever it is annoying them, the rest of the jury, so much that not even 2 hours into deliberation, they were complaining about them to the judge. Listen. Oh, that's another thing. They are saying, who is juror number 25? They're saying he's a gay, liberal, NPR listening scientist. So how bad could he be? Literally, gay, liberal, NPR listening? Baby, you know me and Terry Gross on Fresh Air go together real bad. First of all, you listen to NPR, baby. Please, a Prairie Home Companion, that's my ish. And you are liberal and you're a scientist? I mean, come on. What could go wrong? How bad could he actually be? Again, what is going on? The Lord said, blah, 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 blah. Oh, also, so this is going back to the Inner City Press jury deliberation selection tweets. This is info on juror number 25. I have a PhD in molecular biology. I listen to NPR. I like documentaries about climate change. My domestic partner, he is a graphic designer. Sounds good to me. But now it makes me think, is he pro-Diddy? I don't think somebody gay, liberal, NPR listening scientist would be pro-Diddy. Wait, so does that mean that the rest of the jury wants to say that Diddy's innocent and they're making the guy say he's not? I don't know. Again, you guys, these are all ramblings of a mad woman. Who knows? Oh, I do want to give y'all a little bit of tea of what's going on in the courtroom. So Maureen Comey, you know Miss Comey. This is a Maureen Comey fan page. So Maureen Comey was talking to Mark Agnifilio, right? She came up and she was talking to Mark Agnifilio, and Mark was being nice because at the end of the day, they're all just doing their job. Yeah, they could have the personal feelings, but they're doing their job. Mark Agnifilio came up to Maureen Comey and they were talking like, yeah, what's up? Blah, 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 right? And Shapiro, the woman lawyer, the Shapiro literally told Mark, stop talking to her, come here. And she literally told Mark to end the conversation with Maureen Comey when they were just joking around and told him to come back on their team. Now, why? I know what y'all saying. Does Shapiro got an evil spirit? No. If there is an appeal, and this will 100% be an appeal if Diddy loses, even if he only loses by some counts, they're going to appeal him. Shapiro is the appellate attorney. Her and Driscoll, they're appellate attorneys. All these notes, everything on the record, and everything that's said to counsel will be in the appellate record. The appellate attorneys never want the trial attorneys talking to the other side because everything they say can and may be used against them. So it's not because she got a nasty spirit. It's only because she doesn't want Mark saying anything that might actually mess up the appellate chances. So that's always a good thing too, okay? They don't want anything saying anything that can mess up the appellate chances, okay? So anyway, right? What else are we going on? Also, they kicked everybody out the courtroom for about 20 minutes and Diddy had a family. They kicked everybody out for about 20 minutes and Diddy had a family prayer. It looked like the family got 10-20 minutes alone with Diddy. They kicked everybody out of the courthouse once the jury went back. The Judge Aaron is so kind. He gave them time with the family. It was only Diddy and his family in the courtroom. And people are saying that they may have had a prayer circle in the courtroom where they were all holding hands and they were praying. Baby, all I gotta say is I hope to God lightning don't hit that courtyard. Not because of everybody else, just because of the appellate stuff, right? Just because of it's Diddy. But I can understand and I can feel for the family. That's your dad for good or bad. He raised you. Nobody wants to see their parents, especially when they already lost one parent, another parent going to jail. But at the end of the day, these are decisions that Diddy made. And this is something Diddy should have thought about before he decided to become the freak of the nation. Also, my last live, you'll have to see, even the Swingers Associations of America, and apparently there's several, have disowned Diddy and said that Diddy does not represent a swinging nature. Diddy does not represent anything that they stand for. They are always about fully informed consent, love, unity, without coercion, without control. So they have turned their backs on Diddy, and they said stop trying to classify whatever you had going on with those girls as a swinging lifestyle, because it 100% was not a swinging lifestyle. And apparently there are rules and laws and organizations that actually outline what the swinging lifestyle is. You gotta love America. We even got an association of swingers. You gotta love America. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So anyway, the alternate might be forced to come down. They're sending a neutral note into the courtroom right now to see what the juror, why they can't comply, what's going on. Here's the thing. If they are a liberal scientist listening to NPR, I can't help but think, why would they be down with Diddy stuff? Which makes me believe maybe everybody's trying to say he's not guilty of this. And the juror is like, I think he is. Ooh, I don't know. Listen, we are on Verdict Watch. I told you guys I was going to be in the courtroom. And already you guys can see I'm giving you guys more information than you would have gotten out of reading the tweets. No shade to Inner City Press, because you know they kept us fed for the better part of a year. But at the end of the day, there are things that are said. Diddy is still in there, right? Listen, they are. I will say this, he does have a PhD, and from my experience in life, most people beat PhDs are lovably, obnoxiously arrogant, but in a lovable way. But they should be, because they put in the work to get that degree, so you better let everybody know it's a PhD. But again, it makes me wonder which way they are going and why they would feel that way. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Anyway, right, listen. Snow Ape said, being a freak is not a punishable offense by the law. Sorry, but it is if you drug people. It is if you beat people. It is if you pass around drugs and you fly prostitutes in. It is something punishable by the law. And if you don't believe me, you do it. You do it. You write your freak escapades to the law enforcement, and when they come and pick you up and you get arrested and you lose everybody, not for being a freak, but for being dumb, let's see what you're gonna say. If you force people to engage in freak activities without protection, and it is illegal. It is, and the fact that you are still trying not to separate that, you can be a freak, but not to the point where it comes that you are coercing, using violence, control, or fraud to make women engage in everything. Say what you want. Say what you want. You can be a freak, but I don't know many women that get off on having painful STIs, UTIs, and being forced to have sex without to hookers without protection. Please, y'all dreaming. Y'all hope one day if you get the money of Diddy, you can have all these freak of a nation stuff, and you mad that you're finding out that your fantasy didn't exist, and what you wanted was a chance to enslave and lord over other people, and dare I say, traffic other people, and it's not happening. So if you don't think that it's illegal, then you do everything. Get some escorts in there. Get some escorts, right? Make sure you beat the girl up real good. Make sure you push drugs down her throat. Make sure you take away all her make sure you get security and drag them back and hold people about their will. Make sure you blow up cars. Make sure you bribe people. Make sure you beat people. Make sure you kidnap people. Email the government, and then they'll let you know whether it's illegal or not, all right? You don't got to take my word for it. Email the authorities. They'll let you know. They will let you know. Oh, also, really quick, I just have to read these questions really quick. Missy Blackman said, I love your coverage, loud and clear. Thank you. Shan Chan said, any decent woman wouldn't let him wash her car, for real. I think he really just picked broken people and exploited it. Teray Parks, welcome to the family. Also, Just Hope One said, I love my cup and t-shirts. Just shout out Just Hope One. Y'all start tagging me on Instagram when you get your merch. I'll definitely follow and, of course, tag you back, repost. Naomi M. Pards, welcome to the family. Blue Skies, notes from the foreperson. Yes, we got the notes from the foreperson. Thank you. Tatum, 1 month said, please jury, do the right thing. I think they will. I am Hollywood. Thank you for the super chat. Muy Italiente said, I love your content. I absolutely love you. Oh, thank you. And I love the title tellers. Keep up the great work. We are a great bunch. Michael Foster, thank you so much. Beyond Outside the Box said, I wore my Yana t-shirt this weekend and boy, was it the topic of the conversation. Yana, I know I love that. Thank you, Beyond Outside the Box. You should have sent me a picture. TB, thank you so much. Or y'all can send me pictures directly. TB, thank you so much for the super chat. Dr. Flores said majority is pro-prosecution and they want 25 out. Maybe that's what it is. Diane Decker, thank you so much for the super chat. The Sugar Case said, we're going to miss you reporting the trial. Much love from the Sugar Case. I know, but you guys, I'm going to be reporting other trials and doing other things. Don't worry. This is not goodbye. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to be at the court. Last thing the judge did say is the court is going to stay as long as possible to get the jury. It's 9 to 5 every day, but he's going to open the court on July 3rd and make them stay, whatever they need to do to get the verdict. Blue Sky said, jurors going to end up in jail. SMH people better stop playing with the law. And Bronco the boss said, Yana, what at the function? Is it Keisha? Okay, let me stop. But he said, Bronco the boss said, what's up with the verdict? That's what I'm trying to see. Oh, also, Brittany Currency said Diddy whispering in people's ear that he's the devil. Now he want to pray. No, God didn't want no parts of your BS. Can I say this though? When people pray, we assume they're praying to God, baby. They could be praying to Hezekiah. I don't know. Lady C Cooler said T said just got here. What happened? Give me a quick rundown. Juror number 12 is not playing. For those of y'all just joining, and Lady Crueller's thing, here's what happened. There's a jury note that came out. The juror said that juror number 25 refuses to follow the judge's instructions. The judge asked the prosecution and the defense, how should we handle this? You could bring an alternate in, but they want to know the nature of what can't you. Do you not understand? Do you not agree? Or are you just unwilling? Again, they've only been back there 2 hours. The jury sent a note, not juror 25. This could be the juror sick of juror 25 because they want. Juror 25 is a biologist who listens to NPR, PhD level, okay? We got that. The judge came back and said they're sending a neutral instruction to see what juror number 25's problem is. Nobody quite knows it. Mark Agnifilio wants juror 25 to saying let it rock, because I think he wants to poison the well. The prosecution is saying, hold on, we need to think about this, because the alternate that's going to be next, alternate number 13, he's a wild card. He didn't look at he kept his back to everybody the whole time and was looking sideways. He is 100% a wild card, and I think, it makes them nervous that they've been talking to a certain jury, and it might be a different one, but that's what alternates are for. Dr. Flores said bribery proven, obstruction, force proven, sex trafficking proven, forced labor proven. Jay said, Tisa, you're so lovely. Thanks for keeping us updated. Have you considered making Tisa Tells fans like the one you have? Stay cool out there. Oh, I wish. Thank you, Jay. And Dr. Flores, thank you for the super chats. And I need to get my fan. Also, last thing, DJ See No Evil said, sounds like Diddy's lawyers is more out for the money grab. Appreciate you. They might be, Dr. See No Evil. They might be. Anyway, I appreciate y'all too. Let me get upstairs. I think more jury notes are going to come out. Oh, really quick. Jenny No said, those who know the truth stand by the truth. Keep telling the world the truth. He's guilty. He tried to hide behind love. Exactly. He thinks he's a god, but he is not. He is a man that stands before us in judgment. And I hope the jury finds him guilty. And anyway, you guys, listen, I am melting out here as usual. Let me go back in, and I want to see what's going on in the courthouse. And I'm going to be back here in probably an hour or two to give you guys a new update on what everybody's doing, what the whispers are, what Diddy is doing. And hopefully by then the jury note will be back, okay? I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.